Tina here. I hope your day is going fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, I'm going to create a project today for Paper Tray Ink, and we're using some new arrivals over at the Paper Tray Ink shop. I thought we'd make a pretty floral card. We're using the Into the Blooms Cherry Blossom die set. This is a layering die set, and it's super easy to put together. For my sentiment, I'm going to be using the Just Sentiments from All of Us stamp set. And then for some decorative edges, we're going to be using a new Love to Layer set. This is the Love to Layer Decorative Brackets. And not only do you have the 3 decorative brackets, but there's also some strip dies too. This one has pierced detail, which is really pretty, along with the inside piece has a coordinating pierced pattern. So we're going to jump in and start by doing some die cutting. I mentioned that this is a layering. Now, cherry blossoms are in a variety of colors, pinks and whites. And white's a little bit tricky. What makes it not so tricky is the layers. So let's bring in some cardstock. I have some cardstock here, and each of my flowers or my blossoms are 4 layers each. And then you have this real pretty stem. I'm actually going to take this and die cut this stem out with some ripe avocado cardstock. Let me double check it. Yes. Sometimes I don't remember my color, so my swatches help out. So we have ripe avocado cardstock for our cherry branch. And then this one here is simply chartreuse. We're going to die cut out some leaves with the simply chartreuse. And I'm also going to cut some leaves out with the ripe avocado. For my blossoms, we're going to use soft stone and white cardstock. This is nice because we can layer them together, and that soft stone is going to break up the layers. For our blossoms, we're going to take these 2 dies and die cut this out with soft stone. And then the second layer of our florals, with the exception of this one here, we're going to die cut out with white cardstock. Our third layer has actually pierced detail on it, and we're going to die cut that out with soft stone also. And then our final layer, I'm going to bring in a melonberry, and we'll die cut out our stamen with the melonberry. Now, in our die set, there is elements to create little flower beds. I'm not going to create flower beds for my card today, so we're not going to use these 2. Okay, I'm going to put this off to the side, and then we're going to do a little bit more die cutting with our Love to Layer decorative brackets. I'm going to be using the 2 largest, and also I have the stitched like ribbon piece. I'm going to die cut this out with white cardstock. We'll cut out a strip, and maybe we can fit the strip on here, because with our largest bracket, I'm going to die cut this out. And you know, when I die cut out my brackets, this is such a pretty border. I'm going to center it on my panel, because later on, if I want to use the negative piece, it creates a real pretty window. And I love window frames. So making sure that's centered. We'll die cut this out. Now I have a piece of vellum, and I want to die cut out the middle bracket with the vellum. So I have a little bit of die cutting to do. When I am all done, we are going to create some beautiful cherry blossoms. I have everything die cut. We're going to put our bracket and our strip off to the side for now, and we're going to build some flowers. So I have them well, not necessarily order, but I have them sectioned off each of our florals. There's 3 different florals in this set. So using our first layer, which is our soft stone layer, I'm going to take the second layer and we're going to layer this, but I'm going to add a little bit of dimension. So we're going to pop this second layer up with a small foam square. Usually there's 1 point on each of the layers that lines up. And I see right here, and right here line up beautifully. So we're going to go ahead and layer this. Let me show you. This lines up here, this lines up here, and this lines up here. So it's very easy to line up. Now with my next layer, I'm going to take the soft stone once more, and we're going to add a little bit of glue to this one. I don't think there's no right or wrong place to put it. I'm just going to put it in the center. Okay, and then we have our next layer. We have our soft stone. We're going to take our next layer, add a couple foam squares here. I'm going to find that point that lines up, and I think it's this corner here. You can see how it's very similar. I'm just going to line these up. And it layers beautifully. And then we have this detail layer. Add a little glue, and then we'll place this on here. And there is a guide on your packaging that will show you, that will help you with the layers too. So that's this flower. I'm going to add the stamen last. And then for this one, we're going to go ahead and take our little petal here, pop this up with foam tape. This is going to go on the very bottom. And then we have our detail layer. I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind here. And then this is going to fall around the curve of that top petal, like so. So easy to put together. Now, if you wanted to use a stylus and fluff up the stamen on here, you very well could. But I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue. And then we're going to tack this down. We'll take this piece, add a little glue. And we'll add this one. And then we have our final piece. We'll add a little glue, and since we popped up that leaf here, we're going to tuck this underneath. And then those are our beautiful blossoms. So pretty. These are our leaves, and what I like to do, since we die cut out multiple colors, now I'm going to go ahead and add a few leaves to my florals. And what I like to do is, just to make it easier, I'll layer two different colors together, and then I'll add a little dot of glue at the base, and then I can tack down some of the leaves here. It's just going to make it easier when we attach it to our branch. For this one, we'll do the same thing. So we have some leaves. Now what I'm going to do to make my branch a little more fuller, off camera, I'm going to do the exact same thing one more time. And I'll close the blinds too. So I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and created 3 more flowers. And what we're going to do is arrange our branch on our panel. It's just going to make it easier. So we're going to go ahead and push this off to the side and grab our card base. For my card today, I'm using a standard A2 size card base. It measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and it's a top folding card base. Now I took some pattern paper that I thought would go perfect with our project today. This pattern paper is from Paper Tray Inc.'s Egg Hunt paper pad. I just trimmed it down so it was 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. We're going to go ahead and take our tape runner and adhere this panel to our card base. It's going to leave me 1/4 inch all the way around. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to add some adhesive behind here. And I'm going to tack this down right down the middle. And then if I have overhanging, I'm going to trim off with my scissors. Now with my decorative brackets, I'm going to take my vellum piece and I'm going to lightly add some adhesive along the edge. And we're going to tack this, this is just going to add a little bit of a softer detail area to the card. I love doing this. It just adds a little bit of softness. I'm going to flip this panel around and I'm going to put some foam tape behind here, and then we're going to adhere it to our card base. Now I'm going to take my branch and I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind here. I'm going to tack this down to where my stem is overhanging a little bit, and that's okay. I think that looks wonderful. And then I'm going to take my blossoms and we're going to add these. I want a little section for my sentiment, and I think I want to try and keep this area here clear. And I think that looks really pretty. I don't think I have a room for my last flower, but we can save that for another card. I do want to add some extra leaves. And I think that's just the perfect amount. Now for my sentiment, I think we're going to use warm birthday wishes. And I'm just going to stamp with an acrylic block using my True Black ink. I'm going to straighten this up, trim it down, and then I'm going to mat this on some yellow cardstock. So my sentiment is good to go, and I didn't mention it, but the yellow cardstock is lemon tart. I'm going to flip this around and I'm going to add some foam squares behind here. And you can see I have some natural twine that I tied a double bow. I thought we would add some natural twine to here. We're going to add our sentiment, maybe doing a little tucking. I think that's a good spot. And we'll adhere our bow right at the top, but I'm going to use a glue dot for that. And for the flower centers, what I'm going to do is bring in a black marker, and I'm going to add little dots to the stamen of my flower. This is just going to bring the flower to life, and it's going to pull that sentiment since it's black. And then that will finish off my card today for paper tray ink. Today we are using the Into the Blooms Cherry Blossoms die set, which I think is pretty fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you again real soon.